So I'm holding in my hand here a Rudraksha, let's call it a nut. This is a Rudraksha nut. This is a very popular item amongst Hindus, yogis, and New Age folks. And the question is why? Or perhaps better to start off with what is this? So the Rudraksha is it's a seed that comes from a tree growing in northern India or Nepal. It grows high up in elevation, and there's an interesting backstory that goes along with it. That the seed actually comes from the tears of Rudra, of Lord Shiva, the progenitor of yoga, the first guru. That he was deep in meditation, and he was disturbed by the amount of misconduct and evil in the world, and this caused him to cry, and those tears fell on the ground, and from them sprang forth the Rudraksha. And I love this story. It's very similar to the Bodhidharma conception story regarding tea. The lore is that Bodhidharma's part of his body fell to the ground, and tea sprouted from that. So there's this unique mythological story. I don't really think that's how Rudraksha came into existence, but I like it. Rudraksha is a seed that has a hole that naturally forms inside of it, and it allows us to place it on a string, onto a thread, and then we can use that thread, that threaded bead, to do our mantras. Usually it'll be beaded with 54 or 108. 108 is a sacred number in Buddhism and Hinduism. So we have to go on though. We know all this about the Rudraksha now, but the question is, why do so many people wear them? And I feel like if you asked a number of people why, overtly why, that initially they might not actually have an answer for you. They like it, somebody gave it to them, they're intrigued by it. For some reason, they might not be able to put their finger on it. But some people like to think that there's a certain spiritual force and energy that exists in this, like with their crystals and things like that. Now I got a couple Rudraksha seeds from a gathering for Amma. Amma is thought to be some sort of avatar of a divine mother spirit, and she is the head of a huge charitable organization that helps create schools and houses, and they do a lot of things more than I'm really aware of, to tell you the truth. It's a charitable organization. I'm the head of it. So they're having this get-together, and at the get-together there's many Hindus, yogis, New Age people who are very inclined towards crystals, and they're selling these beaded necklaces made with the Rudraksha beads. And I'm personally not a big fan of buying religious items. I think that a religious item should be made, found, or received / given as a gift. That purchasing religious items is unfortunate. It's disappointing, and so I decided, since I've not once met a person who's seen a Rudraksha tree before, I've never met anybody who's collected Rudrakshas with their own hands. But I'm very fascinated in this tree, and so I decided to buy these unprocessed, unrefined Rudraksha nuts, with hopes that I could plant them and grow them into my own tree. And I cracked these open. So these are a nut, right? I cracked it open. I purchased 3 of them. I was assuming that each one would have several seeds inside of it. And I cracked them open. The others I glued back together. And they're like a walnut. But there were no seeds inside of them. Out of the 3 that I had, none of them had seeds in them. Because they were immature. They had not come to maturity before they either fell off the tree or were taken off the tree. For whatever reason, there were no seeds inside of them. And so it makes me wonder, what is the power behind the Rudraksha seed? I think the power really lies in mantra repetition. Mantra repetition is where the power lies. There's no magic in the seed. There's no magic in the sounds of the mantra. The magic comes from focusing your mind on the mantra and using it to understand your own consciousness more. Understanding your own consciousness and becoming in tune with the ebb and flow of reality. Going along in that vein, what is the power of the Rudraksha? It seems clear to me that having a Rudraksha seed around your neck is fantastically interesting, because inside of that nut shell there are viable seeds with an abundant amount of energy, with the potential to grow an entire tree. That seems fantastic to me. That seems very unique and very interesting, that you can carry with you the potential for something that, you know, is going to be bigger than you, that you're going to have to look up to, and it's going to sprout and grow. And then this is something that takes a very long time. I heard that it takes 40 days or so for a Rudraksha seed to sprout. And then, of course, then they grow very slowly in high altitudes, which are rough conditions for things to exist at. So there's some magic in that, isn't there? That there's the potential for life. But a lot of the necklaces that are out there, the Rudraksha shells have been drilled into, which is unfortunate because the Rudraksha grows with a natural hole in it. Often, not all of them will have the hole, but that's another magical property, is that this fantastic spiritual tool, if you want to call it that, which is really what I think a Rudraksha mala, Rudraksha rosary is a fantastic spiritual tool that develops without the need for secondary tools, things made out of metal. But they'll be drilled, and then they'll be shellacked or stained or coated with something, and I really don't think that that is going to be good for any seeds that might exist inside of the shell. Now, it's become clear to me that not every shell is going to have viable seeds in it, and that's another disappointing factor, that people are taking these seeds, wearing them around their neck, and basically it's just a piece of dead wood. There's no life in it. There's no potential energy. There's none of all those beautiful aspects of what a seed is, and it ends up just being a beautiful symbol, but then at the end of the day, a trinket, just a piece of clutter that we wear around our neck, that we buy, that we create more negativity, because I'm going to go ahead and put forth the idea that all money at some point in its existence comes from some sort of destructive force, that all the money somewhere along the line in its life is tied to some sort of negativity. And so we have the opportunity to get these beads that come just directly from the ground, come from the tree, and are gifts to us. And then we're going to muddle that up by drilling holes into them, shellacking them, and then coming together and selling them along with mined stones and crystals, which are also very cool. But what's the power? What is more powerful than going to an expo and purchasing the rock, which is great. This is fantastic. I'm so happy that all of these people are coming together, spiritually minded people who want to make the world a better place. And then they have their arts and their crafts and they're selling those. But what's more interesting to me than that is going to the place where these crystals come from and finding them, having that personal experience with the earth, going to where these trees grow, collecting the seeds, because that's a sacred abode right there. That's clearly a sacred spot. If you are willing to believe that the seed itself is sacred, then how much more sacred the entire tree, the region, and the specific spot where that tree is growing. That's going to be a spot for a fantastic experience to be had. Lastly, when I was in India, I had a very good, trusted friend, and he told me about the single-faced Rudraksha beads, and how that they're nothing but lore. I was very startled the other day when I actually, while I was purchasing these, the shop I was purchasing from said that they had single-faced Rudraksha beads. And I was like, well, I'm really surprised. Was my friend telling me an untruth, or are they right here? And after a little bit of research, I found out that that might really be a Rudraksha bead. And so now once again, we have this interesting thing. Where is the power? Is it because, you know, a Rudraksha with a single face is going to help you develop spiritually? Or is the actual power just counting your mantras? I think the power lies in the spiritual discipline and the practice of mantra counting, and not to do with the number of faces or sides. The sides you can see, this one is 5-faced. But the power doesn't have to do with the number of faces. The power has to do with the discipline that you're going to take. And if you think that a spiritual item that you purchase from somebody at a store is going to help you achieve enlightenment somewhat faster, I think you're mistaken, and that we need to focus on our discipline. Thank you.